of laws. Individuals who qualify for relief under our laws have a basis to remain in the United States. The contributions of immigrants to this country is quite clear. On their critical mission, we are delivering on tougher consequences for unlawful entry, including the return, removal, and expulsion of more than 665,000 people during the first half of this fiscal year.
Secretary Mayorkas right now speaking.
Allow our law enforcement officers to stay in the field and focus on their critical mission. We are delivering on tougher consequences for unlawful entry, including the return, removal, and expulsion of more than 665,000 people during the first half of this fiscal year.
Secretary Mayorkas right now speaking live here. This on the ending of Title 42, which it will end at 11:59 tomorrow on Thursday. Again, he's saying it does not mean it's an open border. If you try to cross in a legal manner, you would be able to seek asylum. If you try to cross illegally, you would not be able to seek asylum. But there are ways around that in which he did explain. But at the very top of the press briefing that you're seeing now, what he did mention in his opening remark is that he is calling on Congress to act, essentially saying there needs to be something done with the immigration policy as it stands right now. Again, Title 42 is set to expire tomorrow. The president has said that you can expect it to be chaotic for a while, though if you look at the numbers, it's already been that way. The secretary will continue this press briefing and will continue to monitor it throughout the hour for you. Meanwhile, this live local in Capitol Hill, the House Oversight Committee saying the Biden family profited from foreign business dealings, especially.
And we are a nation of laws. Individuals who qualify for relief under our laws have a basis to remain in the United States. The contributions of immigrants to this country is quite clear.
Thank you. Next to Suzanne.
Do you guys anticipate requesting supplemental funding for the border from Congress? Last I heard, there hadn't been a request made. If you do anticipate it, like what type of criteria would trigger that kind of request from you guys?
In December of this past year, we sought more than $4 billion in funding to address our resource needs because we are operating within an entirely broken immigration system, and that is something about which there is unanimity. We did not receive the funding that we requested. We received approximately half of what we requested and half of what we needed, which is why we are encountering some of the challenges. We have sought a reprogramming, and we have communicated to Congress that reprogramming is a fraction of what we ultimately need.
We have time for one more, Rob.
Gary Gromack.
I'm so sorry.
Gary Gromack from NBC News. You mentioned some of the immigration proceedings to Pedro. Are you prepared to start releasing migrants into the U.S. without court dates and without a way to track them to reduce overcrowding?
So when, like other administrations, when we release individuals, we release them on conditions. And their compliance with those conditions is absolutely necessary. And if they fail to comply, we will seek to apprehend them and remove them. They are ultimately in immigration enforcement proceedings. But what we are speaking of, what you are inquiring of, is a fraction of the people that we encounter. In fact, the vast majority will be addressed in our Border Patrol facilities and our ICE detention facilities.
Is that not a message that the border is open then to migrants?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely not. And I think you can ask the approximately 1.4 million people who were expelled, returned, or removed from the United States this past year.
You still consider this a challenge and not a crisis? You still consider this...
Is this now a crisis?
I'm sorry.
If you wanted to add anything else on regional processing centers, if not, we'll close remarks.
Let me just answer Marcia's question, if I may, with respect to regional processing centers. They are a powerful example of what I expressed earlier, which is that our president has led the expansion of lawful pathways more than anyone preceding him. The regional processing centers are an extraordinary example of that leadership. These are places where we feel a humanitarian as well as a security imperative to meet people where they are, to cut the smugglers out, and to provide them with a safe and orderly way to arrive in the United States if they qualify for relief. We are surging our personnel in close partnership with the Department of State, in close partnership with countries in the region. We require a regional response to what is a regional challenge. We will, in these regional processing centers, screen individuals to determine whether they are eligible for refugee status in the United States, whether they qualify for what we are expanding in our family reunification programs, or whether on an individualized basis.
Listening into Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas ahead of the end of Title 42. Keep in mind, big picture, the city of El Paso, Texas has declared a state of emergency. Sanctuary cities across the nation are asking for federal assistance, and border towns have expressed their concerns with being overwhelmed by a surge of illegal migrants ahead of the end of Title 42.
Yeah, and also not to mention the president already acknowledging that it's going to be chaotic for a while. Does that even cover it? What does this look like? Title 42 again ends at 11:59 tomorrow. That is on Thursday.
We'll have continuing coverage all throughout the day.